What's up, YouTube? Facebook. Let me get the YouTube going. Zen of Renz. We are going live here in just a second. Zen of Renz. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Going live. Let people get a chance to sign on. We're going to talk about taxes tonight. We're going to talk about some taxes tonight. Got to get the YouTube up. When you come on, just, let me know you're on. Ooh, that picture's not great on YouTube. How is everybody doing? We're going to talk about taxes, how to get more money during this tax season. YouTube video is just going to be all screwed up with me adjusting stuff. Go ahead and share this video, because most of y'all don't know I have a lot of things I've done. I've been doing taxes since 1991, but most of the time I was doing just friends' taxes. Did my own. There we go. Facebook is back. I'm gonna be after I do some sharing over here on Facebook, I'm going to shut that one down, which would be better. I'm going to be going back and forth, camera to camera. I don't have it. It would be cool if I had a camera like double stacked like that. That'd be kind of cool, but I don't. But a lot of guys that may not know this, but I have been doing taxes since 1991. The first time I had to pay taxes to the government, I was pissed. I'm talking about I was mad because I was in the Marine Corps and I didn't understand why I had to pay taxes. But with my little broke Marine Corps check, I had to pay some daggone taxes. So I was mad. I was like seriously upset about that. So then, after that year, I learned about taxes. I took like the course, and then every year I've read the Pub 90, right? There's a publication that comes out every year, gives you all the update. It gives you all the update on taxes and things like that. So I started reading those updates every year. And over the course of time, there are certain people whose taxes that I do every year. Now, here's the thing. The people who taxes I do, they generally get back. Now, understand usually when I do somebody's taxes, I get back everything they put into the government, into taxes that whole year. So that's what I do. Like, let me give you an example. So I have a friend of mine. I do his taxes every year. He's a high income earner. He earns well into he earns over $150,000 a year. He usually pays about $19,000 to $20,000 in federal taxes every year. And usually I get back for him, if let's say he paid $20,000 in taxes, I'm gonna get back for him at least $18,000. Somewhere in that area and somewhere in that range, he's gonna get about $18,000 back. So when I tell you that there are loopholes, that there are ways for you to get money back on your taxes, there are tons of ways for you to get your money back. Hey, Lavelle, how you doing? Many people are too afraid. See, here's the thing. Y'all know I like to talk about fear a lot, and how the IRS and the government, they got you scared to actually take advantage of the things during taxes. And go ahead and start asking your questions. But they got you afraid to take advantage of many of the opportunities that you have as far as getting paying less in taxes. Like, to me, it is you're supposed to try to avoid paying taxes. Shoot, that's your job as a human, as a decent person. How you doing? What's up? How you doing? It's good to see a lot of you guys. I haven't talked to many people in a while. A lot of changes been going on. A lot of changes. I shut down my gourmet popcorn shop so that I can spend more time working on a new business. If you've seen some of the new business I've started, I started working with a young lady, Shay, my girlfriend. We produce a company called My Naturally Pure, which is a I'm sorry, I'm trying to do two things at the same time. My Naturally Pure, which is a natural scrub, natural skin scrub for men and women. I don't want this to play as far as volume is concerned because I want to be able to see your comments on Facebook. But yeah, so we started My Naturally Pure. My Naturally Pure is a all natural skin scrub, facial scrub, body scrub for men and women. And the thing about it is that this complexion has been getting like so much better, clearing up. Spots have been getting better. My Naturally Pure, which is and I know I got background noise, so I'm getting rid of all that. So yeah, so I don't want this to play. I'm gonna get this right. So yeah, but you know, we make a version for women, so we started My Naturally Pure, a version for men. All natural skin scrub, facial scrub. I'm trying to turn the volume off on this. And the thing about it is hold on. All right, Facebook, I'm gonna move you a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right, Facebook. Now I can see your comments better. That's why I wanted to do that. So, I know, getting ready for this. I got to do better. But like and share. So, we're going to talk about taxes tonight. We're going to talk about the best ways for you to be able to get as much money as you possibly can. Oh, I appreciate that, DeMarco. I want to teach you how to get the most amount of money as you possibly can. It doesn't matter if you own a business or anything like that. You can still take advantage of a lot of tax loopholes that are out there. It's not just the rich people can take advantage of these things. Most of you don't realize, but if you have certain hobbies that you participate in that either makes money or doesn't make money, you can utilize those hobbies. If you are part of any kind, so let's stay there for a second. So when you get to the end of doing your tax return, let's say you have a hobby and you make little trinkets for kids, or you make jewelry, or you bake, or anything like that. If you're not making over $10,000 with it, you can put that as a hobby business and be able to take losses on it. You'll be able to say that, okay, you made less than $10,000 on that business. You can then you can charge mileage, you can charge meals and dinner, things like that from that business. You can, from doing that hobby business, you can, if you take a trip, let's say, okay, so there's a lady that I know. She is very much into quilting, right? She's like huge into quilting. And she goes to a quilting convention. She sells some of her quilts, very few of them. She sells some of her quilts, but she goes to a convention every year. Every year this lady goes to this convention. I'm going to shut this one down. In Vegas. And by going to this convention, she's able to take the tax deduction for going to this quilting, because she doesn't earn more than $10,000 a year in selling the items that she quilt, right? But because she sets it up as a hobby business, or it's just a hobby, and she goes to this convention, she can take the tax deduction of the trip to Vegas, of the hotel expense, of the food expense. She can take those. So if you have, let's say you're into cars, right? And if once a year you put your car in a car show, then because it's a hobby of yours, then you'll be able to actually utilize that as a deduction, right? Now, you have to definitely, before you get too deep into this, I want you to be able to, you have to do some research. You have to check your state. You have to check what the county, the hobby laws, that sort of thing. Just check them just to make sure. But I want to go over some of the basic things that the average person can take advantage of. Now, you guys may not realize this, but because if you can account for your mileage of driving to work. Getting to work is if your job requires you to have transportation, if your job requires you to have, if you require certain tools, if you require a certain dress, a certain way of dressing when you come to work, if your job has a requirement of certain type of dress to go to work, then the dry cleaning and cleaning and the purchase of those items, of those clothing, is tax deductible. Did you know that? Did you know you can take those things as a tax deduction? The clothes that you buy. It could be something as simple as a shirt like this. If you're required to wear business casual or business wear to work, that's a work requirement. then you can take this as a deduction. You can take the cleaning of this as a deduction. You can take the purchase of this as a deduction. Many people are afraid to do it because they're afraid of the IRS, but you can take it as a deduction. So your clothing that you buy for work purposes, you can deduct that on your taxes every year. You have to do an itemization. You can't do the basic, 1040 EZ. You got to do the 1040A so that you do the itemization. But if you follow that process, you can take your clothing, your dry cleaning. If you have to read certain books, go to certain classes, you can take those. If you do something, so let's say you have a job and you work as an insurance person and you have to take certain classes to keep up your skill set as far as your job, or go to certain conferences to keep up your skill set, you can take all of that as a deduction. Now, if your company pays for it, they reimburse you. You do have to put that back. So you really shouldn't even waste the time on that one, because you have to show. But if you did extra while you were gone that your company didn't reimburse you, didn't put it in there. So like if you spent more money than the company gave you per diem for, then put it on there. But let me give you some other tips, some other ways that you can take advantage of this thing, right? So you're going to, everybody wants to take a vacation, right? But everybody winds up paying for it themselves. So, I mean, I wish I knew what kind of work. So let me ask you, what kind of work do you guys do? What kind of work do you do? I need to know. I want to make these examples more centered to you. So I need to know what kind of work you do. You don't have to be like super specific, but just what kind of work do you do? I want to know. Tell me. Y'all gonna talk to me today. I haven't talked to y'all in like a couple of weeks, so y'all gonna talk to me today. And I do want to thank Byron for suggesting this topic. We got a full moon out. Full moon is a time for what to do with the money when you get it, because too many people waste the money when they get it. All right. So Gina is a nurse. Gina's a nurse. So Gina probably already knows that. I hope you know that all your nursing uniforms, tax deductible, the shoes, everything tax deductible. But this is what I want you to think about, Gina, this year. You can do it this year. I don't know if you can do it next year. I mean, you probably can't go back. But for this upcoming year, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take a vacation. But when you take your vacation, make sure you're taking it in a place where you can take a class, maybe a one-day, a little seminar, a little 3-hour seminar, whatever it is, on medicine, on nursing, medicine, healthcare, whatever it is. If you're on a vacation and you take a class that is geared to your job, you can write that off as an educational tax deduction. You can write that off as a trip that you took. So now the entire vacation, it doesn't matter if you took the class on Friday and then you stayed there till next Friday. The whole goddamn thing is a write-off, is a tax deduction. Everything that's about you. Now, if you take a spouse, you take your kids, you can't write them off, because this is your job. But for your job, you can write that entire thing off as a tax deduction. You can tell your company, hey, I'm on vacation. While I'm away on vacation, I'm gonna take there's a class on the newest innovations of CPR. I don't know, or something dealing with whatever field you're in. And while you're there, take the class, get the receipts, take the class, go to the class, whatever. But then you can write off the entire trip. You can write the whole vacation off, right? And that's a huge tax deduction, because let's say you took a trip to Jamaica and they had a little class going on while you're down in Jamaica. Well, you take the class for 1 day or 2 days, however long it is, and now you can write the entire thing off. When I owned a gym and I was a personal trainer, I used to do it all the time. Like, I would find where there was a personal training seminar or business seminar going on in Miami or in LA or somewhere, and I would take the trip and then and then I can write the entire trip off, because I spent 2 days at a seminar, but I was there for like 7 or 8 days. I spent some time looking around, exercising, doing some other things, but I was able to write the entire trip off. Okay, so you can do that. You can write the entire thing off for whatever your job is. And if there's whatever the education, the class is, you can write that off. That's a huge deduction, because we're talking about a deduction that could be $1,000, $2,000, depending upon where you go. And a $1,000 or $2,000 deduction, that's huge. That's huge. And then if you had to buy any books while you were there, if you buy any books while you're there, you can write that off too. You write off your food, you write all that stuff off. Now you got you a little $2,000 deduction. Classes are always available, yeah. And see, you just got back from Jamaica. I'm jealous. It's okay. It's okay. She went to Jamaica. Didn't invite none of us, did she? She didn't invite none of us. She didn't tell nobody she was going to Jamaica. That's all right. But yeah, so you can write that. So next time you go to Jamaica, take a class. Take a class. Next time you go there, take any kind of seminar while you're there, and you can write the entire thing off. Right? And let's say you want a new computer, right? Let's say you want a new computer, and you're taking an online class. Sign up for the online class. Buy the new computer. Now the new computer is a write-off because you needed it for the class. So now you can write off the computer that you just bought. Yeah, you should. Sorry. I was about to say you should be sorry. But yeah, now you can write the computer off because you had to take this class. Right? So you took an online class, you need the computer, so you did that. You have internet in your house, and let's say you're signed up for an online class. You can write off the internet, your internet bill can be written off because you need the internet for your online class. So you can write that off as well. Right? So we don't think about these things most of the time. Of how to do it. Most of the time we only think about a business or child income credit or something like that. I mean, child income credit is good, but even if you're a high earner, there's a way to get you can get child income credit as well. But you just have to have a business set up to do that. And you can't make money with your business, but there's a lot of things you can write off if you do it right. Kind of like I just did the vacation. So let's say Gina, who's a nurse, and she's the only one who want to tell me what they do. Nobody else want to tell me what they do. It's all right. So Gina's a nurse. She sets up a business where she goes around and she teaches people CPR, right? Goes out, do a few bids. Doesn't matter if she ever gets one. In fact, she's going out. She can write everything off. Every trip, every drive, she can write that off. Gas in the car, she can write it off. This is if you have a business. Go get a business license. Costs you like $100. If you have a child, hold on. If you have a child that's in high school and will be studying abroad for about a month, can you write off the airline tickets? Can you write off the computer things that is needed for the trip? Not in high school. Not in high school. If they was in college, you could write that. If they were in college, you could write it off as a study abroad. I don't believe you can do it in high school yet. Let me think. There's a way, but there's a way I can figure that out though. I can figure that out. I can figure out a way to get that written off. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I got it. Okay. They will be studying. All right. This is what I need you to do. All right, you ready? This is what I need you to do, Gina. Okay, so this is purely advice. I am not telling anybody to do this as a tax advisor. All right. So you got a student. He's getting ready to go to high school. He's in high school. He's going to. If you're a high school student, have them set up a business under you as a travel advisor or a blogger or something like that. Some kind of service business that relates to this travel, to the study abroad. Have them start making videos, all right? So have them start making videos about this travel, about this trip. If they are making videos about this trip and giving travel advice concerning this trip, and even if they just say, hey, I'm if you need travel advice, give me a call, whatever, then they take the study abroad and they take the trip, you can write everything off under that business of them being a travel advisor as a business in your household. So if my kid was going to do that, that's how I would set them up. Because like my oldest girl, she set up a business as a travel advisor. So every time she takes a trip, she records and videotapes things that she's doing while she's on the trip. So now she writes the trip off. She writes every aspect of the trip off because she's recording it and she's a travel advisor. Doesn't matter if she make any money or not. She can write it all off. So your kid can write it off that way. Okay, things, brothers. Yep. So that's one way that your you can write off the computer and everything, and then other things that you buy, you can also write off food and a bunch of other stuff by doing it that way. So I would do that. I would do that if I was having him go out there that way. So where was I? Oh yeah, setting up a business. Any type of service business is awesome because it allows you to be able to write off a bunch of things, going on trips, taking, buying products for your home. You set up a home office, you get to write off a certain amount of your bills, your utilities. You can write off certain amount of space. Like if you have a 2,000 square foot home, then you take 300 square feet and turn that into an office, which is really just putting a desk and some other things in a corner or whatever. Then you're welcome, Gina. And you set that up, then you can write that off. The percentage of the 200 square feet compared to the house will then can be written off from your utility bills, written off from your mortgage or your rent. They're written off from all those things based on the percentage of how much space is used for a home office. So if you have a home office, and you have a business set up, you can write that off. You'll be able to write out portions of your house, right? Now, here's another one that most people don't think about. Now, usually when people think about charities, they only think about the money that they give to a charity. Sometimes they think about the clothing and furniture and that sort of thing that they give the charity as well. So money and clothing is one of the two things that most people think about when they give the charity. Most people don't realize that you can account for up to 30% of your income to charity. Now, I don't know if you're giving 30% of your income to charity, but you can, up to 30%. But here's the thing that most people don't look at. Any charitable miles you drive. So let's say you pick somebody up every Friday, Saturday, or Sunday that you go to any kind of service. If you're picking up somebody and taking them to service, then you can account for every mile plus gas, a certain amount of gas and maintenance for taking that person to church, right? So when you're doing when you're doing your taxes, it has a part where it's saying how many charitable miles you've driven. So if you're taking people to church, if you're going or to any kind of charity place, if you're picking up items, if you're dropping off items, if every week you drive past a grocery store or something like that and you grab all the food and then take it to a shelter, you can account for all the mileage that you drive and take that. The mileage that you drive to donate your clothes or donate anything to charities, you can account for those mileage. So most of the time people skip the mileage for charities that you can take advantage of. So you think about that as well. How many miles do you drive to church or to synagogue or mosque or whatever you do? How many miles do you drive to donate stuff? How many miles do you drive to participate in charity runs and all that kind of stuff? I know a girl, there's a girl on my Facebook. I swear she must do 15, 20. Okay, it says I'm kind of choppy. Yeah, I have a bad connection on YouTube, so we're going to have to work on that one. If this YouTube video may be horrible, so I apologize. If YouTube is very, very bad, then go over to my Facebook page, which is Coach Renz, and I'm over there on Facebook. That one seemed to be pretty good. So if you have... she runs. She does yeah. It keeps saying bad connection. Where I'm at, where I moved to, I'm surrounded by trees and hills. So I might have to do something different about my Wi-Fi here. But I'll have it fixed by next week. So go to Facebook if you're on YouTube. Coach Renz on Facebook. But yeah, but she goes and does these charity runs all the time. But she didn't know until I spoke to her a couple of years ago that every time you go to a charity run, you not only do you take the tax advantage of the travel. Oh, yeah. Go on to Eden. Go to Facebook. Eden knows what my Facebook is. Anyway, so she can take advantage of the travel there. She can take advantage of the parking. She can take advantage of the food. She can take advantage of all those things while she's there. If she were to go. This is so irritating. I should have checked the Wi-Fi before I moved here. But anyway, so everything involving these charity runs that she goes to, she can take those as tax deduction because she's doing the runs for charity, for a charity. So the t-shirt she buys, the food she spends, the hotel stays, the travel, all those things are tax deductible for the charity, but she hadn't been taking them because most people don't think about, you know, they only think about charity as far as what you donate, as far as cash and food and clothing. But you can take all those aspects of a charity for a deduction. Now, but the big, and I know a lot of people take houses. They want to buy houses because they're thinking a house is a great tax deduction. The biggest deduction that you can ever do is to start a business. You start a business. I don't care if it's a network marketing company. I don't care if it's a janitorial service. I don't care what it is. But starting any kind of business, you're going to be able to take the most tax deductions. Let's say if you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you are a mechanic, you whatever, and you start another side business and get a Wi-Fi range extender, okay. But you do any kind of business, any kind of additional business, right? When you do that, you will it'll open up the doors for so many tax deductions that you never knew you had, right? I mean, you'll be able to take a loss in areas that you hadn't even thought about, and then if you use it correctly, you can really take a ton of loss. So, like, if your family, if you got family members who are on your board, if you guys go and have a weekly board meeting at your favorite restaurant and you take the minutes of those board meals of the business that you discuss, you go there, you sit there and say, hey, I went out and I did I sent out some marketing this week, on Facebook, about this new thing about whatever the business is, and you take those minutes, and you do that every week, then with your family members and their board members to your company, then that will allow that meal every week to be a tax deduction because it's a board meeting, right? You go on vacation with your family and they're part of your board, then the whole trip is a board meeting. So you go, hey, we're going to do our quarterly meeting on the cruise line. We're going to do our annual meeting in Las Vegas. We're going to do our annual meeting in LA and New York. If you take, and you taking your whole family, and your whole family are board members, they hold chairs and seats for the board, they hold stock in the company, then that will allow that entire trip to be a tax deduction. So all these things can be tax deduction. You buy a car, you buy a house, you buy whatever you buy it through the business, or the business has some application towards that property, then the amount of interest you pay on it is a tax deduction. The payment itself becomes a portion of the payment becomes a tax deduction. The mileage, the usage, the utilities, all these things become a tax deduction to the house, the car, whatever it is that you purchase, because it has a business purpose to it. And fact of the matter is, as long as you change the business name every 3 years, then you can keep taking a loss on it forever. Now, the only time you don't want to keep taking a loss on a business, so this is why you got to plan. You have to plan. Let's say you're living in an apartment right now, but you know that in 2019 you want to buy a house. You've been taking a loss on your taxes. You've been taking a loss on your taxes since 2000, forever. Now you're getting ready to go into it's 2018. You want to go in 2019. You want to buy a house. You cannot take a loss on your taxes in 2018. If you have to dissolve the business so that you just have a straight up tax return showing that you are profitable, you cannot take a loss. Because if you take a loss and then you go to buy a house and they see that loss, they're not going to give you the loan for the house. So I want to put that out there, make sure you understand that completely. That you have to, when you're doing these kinds of, when you're doing your taxes this way, when you have a business and you're trying to take losses, you have to understand that, what am I going to be doing next year? Can I take a loss this year because I don't plan on making any major purchases the following year? If you don't, you're good. If you do, though, and you're not going to be able to do it. So make sure that when you take a loss, that the following year you have no intentions of making a purchase like a house, because they're going to count that as part of your debt to income. They're going to decrease your income. Okay, your income. So if you make $90,000, but then you take a $30,000 loss from a business, then what the bank is going to say is that really you made $60,000. So when they do your debt to income ratio and they're not going to give you a loan that takes you more than 40%. It's going to be 40% of that 60 and not 40% of your 90. So you're going to get less house, a smaller loan. So make sure that you know what you're going to be doing in the next year in order to make sure that you don't mess up that way. Okay? So that is the only caveat to this. You got to know how to play this cat and mouse game correctly. Now, speaking of the following year preparation, and if you have any other tax questions, just shoot them out, right? What do we do with the money? What do we do with the money? Every year we waste the money. All right? A lot of these tax people, they set people up for the okie doke. They know that they're going to get you into a car and they're going to take your money. They know that they're going to get you into a hey, you need your money now, so you come get this loan from us, and you getting 3,000 back. We're gonna take 1,000 of it away from you, or 800 away from you, or 500, because they know they're catching you in a bad situation. They're looking for those people who don't have the patience to wait it out, to do their taxes with somebody who's not gonna charge them a crazy amount of money in order for them to do their taxes, right? And they know they're scared. They know they need to hurry up and get some money. You gotta have some patience. This is the time for you to show patience, right? You need to get as much of your money as you possibly can, and not give it away to somebody who don't know how to do it, right? And then a lot of people whip you in and whip you right on out. See, like when I do somebody's taxes, like I have a gentleman, he sent me all his tax information yesterday. It's gonna take me a few days to do his taxes. Now I know you think, like, why should it take you a few days to do his taxes? It's because I gotta make sure I get the right balance of the numbers, right? I gotta make sure the numbers, I go through them multiple times. I make sure that every number is in the right place, and that there are no red alerts, and I make sure that the taxes are done in such a way that I maximize his tax return. Well, in order to do that, I have to dig deep. I have to dig deep and correlate things. Most of these people at these places, they're trying to get you in, get you out, get you in, get you out, because they get paid based on the number of taxes they do, plus they get paid based on how many sheets of paper they have to print out for you, how many different pieces of paper that they have to do. And in that way, they're setting you up. They're setting you up to take your money. This money belongs to you, right? This is not somebody else's money. This is your money. But you have to learn how to manage this money after that. Now, I did a video almost a year ago, where I talked about this past summer actually, how to turn $200 into $11 million, right? I'm pretty sure everybody want to know that. You want to know how to turn $200 into $11 million, right? Well, it's very simple. It's very simple. What I show people how to create the different accounts, and then when you create the different accounts, you have one account called a financial freedom account. In that financial freedom account, you're going to put $200 a month in that account, and then you're going to invest it in something that's going to give you about 12% per annual, right? Now, if you're investing in a different kind of fund or something like that that's giving you 12% per annual, and you're putting $200 a month in there every month, then in 50 years, you're going to have 11 point something million dollars. Seems like a long time, I know. But I'm 46 years old. In 50 years, I'm only going to be 96. I think, I'm pretty sure I'm going to live past 96. But if I put $200 a month in something that gives me 12% per annual, in 50 years, I will have, and I do it consistently, every month for the next 50 years, I will have accumulated with compounding interest $11.5 million, right? Now, if I only do it for 30 years, because like I said, I'm 46, 30 years from now I'll be 76. If I do it for 30 years, I'm going to have $600 and something thousand. I forgot what the exact number is. But I know I have about 600 and something thousand. I've taught this plenty of times, so I kind of know the number without having to look it up again or do the math. But I'm going to have about 600 and something $1,000 if I do it for 30 years. So $200 a month equals $2,400 a year. Many of you are going to get more than $2,400 back on your taxes. So if you invested that $2,400 in your taxes that you're going to get back every year into something that is going to generate you an average of 12% per annual, then in 30, and you do that consistently for the next 30 years, you will have $600 something thousand. So if you're in your 30s, you're talking about in your 60s, you're going to have $600 something $1,000. If you're in your 40s, of course, 70s. If you're in your 20s, then You know, in your 50s, you're going to have $600 and something thousand dollars. Now, if you can do that for 50 years, invest $2,400 a month into something that gives you 12% per annual, then you're going to have $11.5 million. $11.5 million. So I want you guys to think about how your life would be in 30 years. What do you plan on doing in 30 years? How do you want to live your life in 30 years? Because if you think about it, in 30 years, if you have been investing in something that's compounding at 12% per annual, and you have now $600,000, right? And it's still compounding at 12% per annual, then you're compounding that 12% per annual of 600,000. If you took 10% of that annual check out, right? Then you are looking at having a $60,000 paycheck every year to live off of, while still maintaining your over 600,000, and it's still growing by 2% per annual. Dewana said, what gives 12% per annual? Well, if you look up different things, I know that over the last 20 years, the S&P has been averaging, if you invest in bonds and in S&P funds, then they have been performing at over 12% per annual. Many Vanguard funds and China funds have been averaging 12 to 15% per annual over the last 10, 12 years as well. So you have to do your due diligence. You have to go and research the different funds and fund managers. Now, here's the thing. When you do this, you got to be mindful of the fees, right? Because if they're saying that you got to take the average and then subtract the fees, right? Because if they're averaging 15, but there's 3% fees in there, you're averaging 12, right? So you got to be very mindful of that. Make sure it's not some company that's killing you on fees. And then see what the requirements are. How long do you have to stay with it before they, when you start taking money out, what are the fees going to be? If you close it, what the fees are. If you start switching it around, what the fees are. Make sure you know. You got to be very definitive. I mean, you got to do your research, okay? Because I can't speak for the companies. I can only speak for what the funds are doing. I can only speak for what, when I researched different hedge funds and things like that. Now, understand, I'm telling you guys this. I like investing in businesses more than I like investing in funds and mutual funds and hedge funds and investing in the S&P or bull market. I'm more of I'll watch somebody do business for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then invest in their business before I invest into a fund. It's a higher risk, but the return is greater. The return is greater. Like the example I gave in the video that I did this past summer was like my company, Uncle Renz Popcorn. Imagine if you invested $50,000 in one of those, and we open up a store. And that store, after a year of operation, that store now is paying you $1,000 a month, right? As an owner, you ain't doing nothing. You're just getting $1,000 a month because you opened up the store. So a year later, you're getting $1,000 a month from the store. Now we've been taking 70% of the profit, and we've been putting that back into expanding the store. So after 10 years, we now have 10 stores, right? Because compounding, once you get 2 stores, it's easier to open up the 3rd and 4th store, and it gets easier to open up the 5th and 6th. So they started coming a little faster. You get into year 8, well, year 6, 7, you may only have 3 or 4 stores, but then all of a sudden you go from like 4 to 8 because now you're having more money. So anyway, so by the end of 10 years, we have 10 stores. Well, now you got 10 stores, and they're paying you $1,000. Each store paying you $1,000 a month. Now you're getting $10,000 a month. All right. $120,000 a year. Then 20 years later, you have 40 stores. 40 stores paying you $1,000 a month. Now you're getting $40,000 a month, right? So I like investing in business because business can do that. Like there's no hedge fund, mutual fund that's going to do that. Yeah, none of them are going to do that for you. You would have to do one of those where you come into it and you invest like $2 million into some kind of, today, and you're watching the fund, and then like 3 weeks later or the same day or whatever, you take it out and you've made you've made an extra 4 or 5 million. You got to be into the market like that to do stuff like that. And you got to have that kind of money to do it. So, but for the average person, what you can do is, and I know I said $50,000. Well, maybe you can't do 50. Maybe you can do 20. Go find you 2 other people. Now the 3 of you got 60. Then you find a business and y'all invest in that business. Now, yeah, you might have to split in that percentage. So you getting like 30% of the company, you may get 10%, each person getting 10%, the other person owns 70% of the company. And when you're paying out that dividend after a year and it's making money, and you're paying out, they're paying out ownership dividends, now you're getting some money. All right? But you have to watch the people. You got to follow my little process. I got a 4P process. I like to call this the this the Mark V process is what I call it. The Mark V process is based on Marcus Lemonis and Gary Vaynerchuk. First P stands for patience. You got to have patience. Don't invest money into anything if you don't have the patience to wait for the money to mature. If you got $10,000 you invested in somebody's business and you expect to start getting paid within the first week, month, year, then you don't have the patience to do it. So don't do it. Don't do it at all. Just keep your little money and put it into, well, don't put it into nothing start with a 4, because if it's start with a 4, then it's not for you, it's for the government. But put your money into your hedge fund, mutual fund, Vanguard funds, whatever funds you want to put it into, put your money over there. Because if you got to have your money back in a year, and you got to make your money, start making money in a year, you're not a good investor. All right, you're just not. So suck it up, whatever, get over it. But you got to have patience. You got to let the business grow, right? Then the other P is for people. You got to understand the person you're investing with. Are they a good person? Do they cheat? Do they know how to, nobody's perfect, but do they know how to handle this business? Can they make this business grow? What's their perspective of this business? How do they envision this business going? I mean, do they want to be a regional company, or do they want to be a citywide company? Do they want to be a national or worldwide company? What do they want to do with this company? I mean, I know a guy, he owns a Kilwins in Atlantic Station. John, his store, probably shouldn't be telling his business like that, but I not said his name now. But John, I know a couple of years back, John's store was making at least $1.8 million. All right, so he's making over $1.8 million in the one store. So, I mean, if you invested in that one store, sure, you're doing great. But let's be real. Sometimes you need to have 2, 3, 4, 5 stores, because what if Atlantic Station just all of a sudden go to hell in a handbasket? All of a sudden now you kind of like left holding the bag. So, what's their vision? So understand the person you're investing in, right? Do they have that grit? Can they self-sacrifice in order to build this business? How important is it to them? So patience, people, process. How does everything function in that business? Like I said, it may not be perfect. I function as a one-man show with my gourmet popcorn shop, and for a while I had to do everything. So of course a lot of things didn't get done because I'm doing everything, and there's only so much of me, and there's only so much so much time in a day. And I swear, like last year, I think I took a total like maybe 7 days that I took off. And most of those were days where people just don't do business, like Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, stuff like that. But, what's the process? How do things get done? What's the ordering process? What's the service process? What's the billing process? I know people who have great services, but they are so afraid to bill people because they don't want to send out the invoice, because what if the person don't pay them? They don't want to call a person because they didn't just pay the invoice on their own. Now I got to call them. I got to badger them by paying their invoice, and they won't call them. They may have like $20,000 in unpaid invoices, and the reason why they do is because they haven't been calling the people to get the invoicing in. But maybe they have a shyness about that, or maybe they're scared, or maybe they're just tired, and maybe they don't have time because they're the only person doing the work. Because one guy I know who was like that, he had his own accounting firm. You'd think he would, but he's doing so much accounting that he's not really having time to do his own accounting. So maybe you can sew that up for him. Maybe the cash influx will help him to hire somebody who can do that. I mean, imagine if you got $20,000 sitting out there in unpaid invoices, and then you bring somebody in who's a part-time, accounts receivable person or a GL person, and they can just, their job is to get that money in. Hey, you need that person. You need to have that person, because they can start getting in those invoices that's missing. So it's the process. What are the processes in the company to make the company more efficient? And maybe that's what you need, and maybe that's what they need, and you may be able to help. Maybe you can't. But the money can help bring somebody in who can, right? So the other P. So we got the process. We got patience, the person and people, and the process, right? Now, the next one, the last one, is the product. Is it a niche product? Is it a short life product? What is it? What's the product? And your investment needs to be based on that product. Let's say when the guy, I forgot his name, he went to Japan, he found the silly bands, and when he found the silly bands, he brought it back to America, and over the course of like 2, 3, 4 years, he made millions of dollars on silly bands. But now, nobody wears silly bands. He's not making that kind of money now. So if you know that it's a fad business, it's a quick hit business, then you got to have your investment set up where you can hit it and get your money out, right? So perfect business for that. Let's say I came to you and I said, look, here's the thing. On this part of town, they don't have a good club. I want to open up a bar club over on this part of town, and it's gonna, this is how it's gonna be set up. It's gonna be like this, like that. It's gonna be nice, right? And I need like $20,000, $30,000 from you so we can open up this club, because that's gonna, your $20,000, $30,000 is gonna pay for all the liquor licenses, and I got everything else taken care of. But I need that 20, 30 for the liquor license. Now, if I'm doing a club, clubs have about a 7-year run, right? So if I'm doing a club and you know that, and see, this is where your due diligence has to come in, and you have to understand the product. A club has about a 7-year run that is going to make money. After 7 years, most clubs are either closed or they have to redo the entire club and change it into something brand new, because that's just how it goes. People like it, love it, then it starts going down, and then so you got to re-engineer it to bring the people back in. It's very difficult for a club to have a long standing. I know you can think of a couple that has, but it's not many. So you're going to invest your money, and a lot of you guys got this tax money right now. You got like $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. You need to invest some of this money. All right, if you're not investing in something that gives you 12% per annum, you need to invest it in a business or a product that you can sell yourself. I'm gonna get to that part, but you do that, and so you got to have this investment set up where you're getting your money first, right? You can't wait a year, 2 years before you start earning your money. In a club, something like that, which should be generating about $25,000 to $30,000 a week, you need to be getting your money back real quick on the club, and then making your profit real quick. And you need to have made all your money back in the first 3 to 4 years in a club. Now, let's talk about you starting your own thing. A whole bunch of y'all getting tax returns. You're getting $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, right? There's a couple of businesses that you can do, a couple of investments you can do yourself. One of the things you can do, let's say you got $5,000, let's say you got $10,000 back. Take half of that money. Take 5, right? Instead of you paying off all your bills, instead of you going to get a new car, instead of you doing all that little stupid stuff, let's set up a business. Let's do something that's going to make you some money, right? Let me give you one thing that you can do. Let me give you a couple, but I'm going to tell you, this is just number one. Number one, you can take that $5,000. You can go down to the courthouse steps, or you can find out what houses are going to be sold on tax liens, and then see how much they're, what the tax is. The tax is $2,000, $1,000, $3,000, $4,000. You don't need this 5 right now in your life. Remember, patience. So you see a house that has a $3,000 tax lien on it, right? And then you see another house that has a $2,000 tax lien. That's your whole 5. Let's say you're able to get those 2 houses. Well, if you're able to get those 2 houses on a tax lien, then they have 2 options, right? Your 2 options are this. You can't do nothing to the house for a year. You can't sell it. You can't rent it. All the house does is sit. Because the people who own the house has a year to pay you back your money that you invested plus 20%. You want to ask how you can get 12% per annual? That's one way you can get 12% per annual without worrying about anybody else, about any kind of fund. All right? So you take it, you go get you a tax lien on a house, 1 house, 2 houses, however many houses you can get based on how much money you got. Right? Now that person got to wait. Now you want it. Now that's the product, right? But also you got to look at this product. Is it a house that if they don't pay you back in a year, can you sell this house? Can you rent this house? What can you do with this house? Right? So you got to have a long-term plan with it. This is part of your patience, right? And your process. What's the long-term plan? So let's say you bought this house. This house has a value of like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 because maybe it's in the hood. I don't know. Got $30,000, $40,000. That's why it only has a tax lien of like $1,000 on it. It ain't gonna be worth much if it only have a $1,000 tax lien on it. So you got a $1,000 tax lien on the house. Maybe unless you're lucky, you find a really good one. But you got that house. You buy it, right? This house has a $1,000 tax lien on it. You buy the house, you wait for a year, but this house has a value of $50,000 on it. Maybe it needs a little fixing up. I don't know. Well, once a year goes by, and if they haven't come back and paid you your $1,000 plus 20%, which is not a lot. It's not a lot, just $1,200, but you made 20% on your $1,000, right? So now you got $1,200. You ain't gonna find many investments that's gonna give you that anyway. Now you take that, but they don't come back and buy it. Most of the time, they're not gonna come back and get the tax lien. They're not gonna pay you the money. So you're gonna get the house. Well, now with this house, you can take it, and if you've been preparing and getting ready, you fix it up a little bit. You can either flip it for a sale or you rent it. Personally, I would rent the house. I know people say, I don't want to deal with renters. Hey, it's the good with the bad. All right, I've rented the house. I've had good renters. I've had bad renters. It comes with territory, but I would always say rent the house. As you know, you can flip it. Now, if I'm just starting to do this, if you're brand new, I probably flip this house the first time. I probably sell it, right? Because if the house has a value of $50,000 on it, then I turn around and I would sell it for like 30, right, to some other investor. Now I've turned my $1,000 investment or $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 investment into a $30,000. I'll take that $30,000 now. Tax season, if you take it all as capital gain, you're going to have to pay taxes on that money, roughly around 34%. But instead, what you do is you take the entire amount and you go buy all the damn tax liens you can get, like all of them. Maybe save $10,000 for some refurbishing and things like that. But I would take that and go buy all the damn tax lien I can get for the next year, and then I would sit on all of them. You know, if it's 5, if it's 10, however many I can get, I'm sitting on every last one of them in better areas, and I'm gonna sit on those houses. So this is like a 2-year plan. So sit on those houses. You wait. You got them. People don't come back. They don't get those houses that you just bought with your 30. Well, say you did with 20,000 with your $20,000, right? They don't come back and get them. Now you might have 5, 6, 7, 8 houses, right? Now you got 5, 6, 7, 8 houses that you just bought from your first. So you just turned that $1,000 2 years ago into 7, 8 houses. Now you take those. You got 7, 8 houses. Rent every last one of them, son gun. Now you can rent them, right? You're renting these houses. And I would take the profit from each one of those houses and I save them up. I'm not putting none of it in my pocket. So that when I get to 3rd year, I'm buying some more tax liens. When I get to 4th year, I'm buying some more tax liens. I'm gonna keep buying these houses until the rent from the houses do 2 things. They replace my income of my job or whatever else I'm doing. They replace my income, but they also are allowing me to continuously buy more houses. So let's say it takes you 10 years of doing this. If it takes 10 years of you buying houses on tax lien and waiting and then renting, buying house, tax lien, waiting and renting, and then in 10 years you got 20, 30 houses or 40 houses, and they all paid for. You got think about that. They're all paid for. If you got like 50 houses, and I'm not just telling you this based on something that I'm making up. I'm telling you this based on one of my mentors right now. One of my mentors have 57 houses, right, that he went through this process with for 7 years. It took him 7 years. He has 57 houses, right? Those houses bring him an average monthly income of $35,000. Each house is completely paid for, right? Completely paid for. So he gets $35,000 every month from his 57 houses that are completely paid for. That even the money he put into them, as far as fixing them up, within 5 years of the amount of money he put into each house, the rent pays back that. That's one of the things he does. He looks at a house and says that, okay, I can get this house on a tax lien. I'm going to put, now he's at a level, I'm going to put $10,000. I put $10,000 into fixing up the house, or $20,000 into fixing up the house. I can rent this house for X number of money, X number of dollars. In 5 years, will I have made my total investment back? If he says yes, he'll buy the house. If it's a no, he won't buy the house. Okay? So he got the patience, and he has a process, and then he has other people who are now helping him, who work for him, who are handling all the processes and the tenants and all that sort of thing. So he put the right people in place to handle all that. And it's a great product. Everybody's always going to want a place to stay. It's a great product. So instead of you wasting your tax money on a car that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot, you could put your money into a tax lien of one house. Just do one dang on house this year. And when they don't buy the house back, flip it, take every dime and buy you as many houses as you can on another tax lien. And then when you get 5, 6, 7, 8 houses, now you start renting them jokers out. Okay? That's a simple thing to do. It's simple. Now, another thing you can do if you have a great product. I told you, started a company called My Naturally Pure. It's a skincare, facial scrub for men, and we're coming out with some for women and a foot scrub, right? And it's a coffee scrub. Put your money into a product that you can create and you can sell. Now with this one, you got to learn how to market the company. You got to be willing to go out and do the legwork, the groundwork, the footwork. You got to, however it is that you got to sell it. Is it door to door? Are you selling it to other businesses? Are you selling it to individuals? You got to be willing to do the work. Now something like that may only cost you a couple of $100, a couple of $1,000 to get started. It depends on what the product is. If it's something that you've created, then you got to go out there and you got to do the footwork. Now this one is going to take you more work. So the question is, are you the type person to go out and do the work, right? Are you chasing a fad, or are you doing something you know that you love doing, right? So you got to really do, this is a riskier thing to do, but are you willing to do what's necessary? And of course, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. So if you have, I don't know, you've always wanted to have some kind of boutique, right? Some kind of store. You want to sell purses, or you went to some country, what's even better. You went to Brazil and you saw something manufactured in Brazil or made in Brazil that you think will blow up in America. Well, you take your happy butt to Brazil, you get the rights, the American rights to it, you bring it back to America and you start selling it. You start importing it and selling. You get your import license, go to the SBA, take the classes on importing and exporting, get your exporting license set up, and boom, you start importing this product, right? And so you might be importing the product. There's a lady that I just met not too long ago, like a week ago. No, a month ago now, actually. A month ago. She does fundraisers for the sheets. You ever see the kids selling the sheets, the blankets and the sheets and all that sort of thing? She does fundraisers for those. She does thousands of fundraisers all across America based on selling those sheets. She doesn't produce any sheets. She gets them from a foreign country that she wouldn't tell me, but she gets the sheets in and she processes them out based on the fundraisers that people do. The hard groundwork that she did was she went out and talked to the different organizations. She emails the organization. She calls different organizations. She was calling and emailing and going to see as many organizations as she could. Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, AAU teams, schools, band clubs, everything, in order to get them to do her sheet fundraisers. And now, after, I think she said about 8 years of that, she now has thousands of organizations doing her fundraisers every year. And all she has to do is order it, pack it, ship it. That's all she does with that's her process. And then just keep maintaining the sales going. Keep the sales cycle. Keep people doing the fundraiser. So you can take this money and you can get started in that, which means that you have to build a website. You can find the product that you're going to produce, that you're going to sell and flip, and then you have to get out and do the sales work. You have to do the sales work. So you can take your income tax, and there are so many different things you can do to turn that into a business or to turn it into a good investment for yourself. Like I said, if you're like risk averse, then find you some good funds, mutual funds, hedge funds, S&Ps. Find you something like that that's paying you 12% per annual, and put, at a minimum $2,400 a year into that, so that in 30 years you got $600,000, and in 50 years you have $11.5 million based on compounding interest. If you're risk averse, if you're not as risk averse, find somebody who's already running a business who can use a good $10,000-$15,000. You can open up and you can help them grow their business, but make sure you investigate the person. If you are a little bit more risque, go buy you some tax liens, or take your money and go buy you a duplex. Get you a duplex, rent one side, live in the other side. Buy you another one, rent. Keep doing that. Buy you some duplex. Buy some property. What's up, Byron? You late? All right. This is your subject matter, and you're late, and I'm almost done, because I'm done in like 15, 20 seconds. So you can go and buy all these. There are so many different things you can do to make money. you know, to turn your income taxes into money. Right? You can create your own product. You can sell products from another country. You can get your light. You can start a business selling things online, and then go to like the merchandise market or the Americans market. Well, we have the Americans market here in Atlanta, which is like 7 buildings filled with merchandise and buyers and vendors from all over the world. And then you can start selling these things online. But don't just go get it and do it and you don't know how to do marketing. You need to know how to do marketing. You need to know how to get out there and do it. And if you got to beat the street, you got to have that willingness to get your tail out there and beat the street. I told you guys I started this company with these facial scrubs. So starting on the 1st of February, every barbershop, salon, foot manicure, well, I don't know about the foot places. They have the manicure, we're doing the foot scrub. So all these spas, I'm hitting all of them. There's like 7,000 of them in Atlanta. And I know I'm missing a bunch of them. But just in the Atlanta, metro Atlanta area, depending on how far I want to push the metro out, there's at least 7,000. I'm going to see as many as I can. Introduce the product. If you got to knock on doors, you got to be willing to knock on doors and take the yeses, but more importantly, take the no's. Right? Because I'm going to go into a lot of places, and most of them are going to say no. But I can't let that no stop me, because that's their no to the product. It's not a no to me, it's to the product. I would never take it personally. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to do corporate table shows. A lot of corporations are going to tell me, no, I can't do a table show. But there are plenty that's going to tell me, yes, I can do a table show. So you got to be willing to beat the street. You got to be willing to do what's necessary. I went to the courthouse, the Cobb County courthouse. I, had a ticket, had to go to the courthouse. And but I happened to be there on one of the days where they was selling tax liens at the courthouse. And I was like, dang, should I go over there and see if I can get one? But I haven't looked at nothing. I haven't researched nothing. Let me not do that, because I hadn't done any due diligence. But I saw them out there getting ready to sell them tax liens and sell houses. So maybe that's you, but you got to be willing to be there. Go out and look at the houses. Do the research. You got to be willing to do it. However they do it in your town. But if you're not willing to do it, if you're not willing to kick people out of houses, if they're bad renters, then you shouldn't do it. You got to figure out what you're willing to do. What you're willing to do. If you're not willing to do none of it, then just stop complaining and just live your little life and let it be whatever it is, and you'll be all right. But hey, here's the thing about it though, guys. I can't leave you guys on that kind of a note, but I know that you got it within you. I know that you have that ability to go out there and get this done. I know you have the ability to make all things and make all your dreams come true. You just have to pull it out of yourself. You just have to allow it to manifest itself out of you. We're looking for things to just manifest magically in our lives, but it just doesn't happen that way. Things manifest in your life because you make the decision to enforce the laws of nature in your favor. You decide that this is what it's going to be. So if you are tired of being financially broke, then I need you to take the mindset and take the mentality and then take the necessary action to get shit done, to be able to fulfill your dreams, fulfill all your desires, to go out there and get it. And you have that ability. You just have to, you may need somebody to help you pull through. So I want you guys to do me a favor. If you like this video, I want you to share this video. If this video has been helpful for you, share this video. And even though I'm pushing it, another thing, go to my Patreon, patreon.com/Coach Renz. Join my Patreon. I appreciate everything that you do, because I know that my dream, my fantasy, my dream, my desire is to do this full time. Right? I mean, I'll always do some other business. I can't help it. It's just my nature. But I love doing this. I love helping people. I love working with people. So go to my Patreon, join up. It's only $5 a month. Cheap. Right? There's a lot of information on there. And now I'm going to be up. Now that I'm free from having to be in my store all day, every day, 7 days a week. Man, y'all are going to get so many videos and so much information. And I'm going to keep pumping it to you, because I want you guys to be able to grow. All right, I want to see you grow. I want to hear your stories. I want to know everything that's going on. I want to see everything that you do. If you're out there and you're buying tax liens, I want to hear about it. If you're starting a business, I want to hear about it. You know what? I did a video this past fall where I said that, hey, we don't support each other enough. We don't. Let's be honest. We don't. We don't support each other enough. So I did a video because I was kind of pissed. I was pissed. I had went out and I had made videos at other people's businesses. And yeah, I don't do nothing without expecting a return on my investment. So because I went out and I did those videos and that person did get more business, I'm expecting some hey, go to his business. I'm expecting some of that. What you can say what you want. I don't give nothing for free. Right? So I'm expecting something back. I didn't get nothing. Then I start seeing other family members, friends, they posting, oh, this friend of mine started a business, this person got a business, and that person got a business, and I went to their restaurant, and I went to their, and I had their food, and I'm like, God dog, and I had my business for about 5-6 years, and I ain't never seen you post nothing about mine. Yeah, I was feeling some kind of way. So I told everybody, here's the deal. You're a friend of mine, I love you. You got a business, I see you posting something, I'm sharing it, right? But if I don't ever see you share anything of mine, I'ma stop. Plain and simple, right? You got to, I scratch your back, I expect to get a reach around, okay? That's just how it works. So here's the deal. Here's the deal, people. If you got a business out there, I don't know about it. I don't know about it. If I can help you promote it, I'm gonna help you promote it. Plain and simple. But do I expect a return? I sure do. Do I feel some kind of way that that me and Shay started this coffee shop business? And I do appreciate those who have made purchases. I do appreciate people like Byron who I took my company online, has made purchase of popcorn. I appreciate all those things. So if this is not you, don't worry about it. I ain't talking about you. But we were talking today about how strangers support your business better than friends and family. That if you went out and bought a tax loan, got a tax lien of a house, that your friends and family are going to downplay it. They're going to dog you out. They're going to say that, oh, you might have made a mistake, and what if they do this, and what if that, and what if everything negative. This is going to sound mean. Stop caring about your friends and family. I thought that making those videos and making those pleas and putting people's business out there was going to make a difference for them. That people would start saying, I'm going to support my family, I'm going to support my friend. But strangers, I ain't never met Byron before. But Byron has been very supportive of my business. He's on my Patreon. He buying popcorn from me. You know, I don't know what Byron do, but I'm just like itching to be able to support Byron in whatever he's doing. You know, I wish I don't know if Byron got a company, but if he does, I don't care what it is. I'm just going to buy it. Why? Because I appreciate it, right? Well, I appreciate it. So we got to get that. We always talk about building our community. How are we going to build a community if we can't even support each other's business? You know, and I don't even know Byron. I mean, we're going to meet one of these days because he lives like 2.5 hours away from me, I think. But we're going to meet one of these days. But I'm just saying. I love him. But where's friends and family? Where's all these people I know on Facebook? Where's all these friends from high school? Where's all that? You know, it kind of like throws me off. You know, I purposely go to, like, I know some people I went to high school with, they own little restaurants here and there. I purposely go there. Simply because I went to school with them. Because that's what you're supposed to do. Right? That's what you should do. But that's how we build community. And we got to stop being victimized by consumerism. Stop taking your taxes and wasting them on shoes and clothes and paying off all these people. Look, if you got a credit card and you own your $25 a month, keep paying your $25 a month. But take your money and invest it in something that's going to build your household, that's going to give you a return on your investment. We got to stop being consumers. Stop listening to all these car dealerships. I mean, car dealerships doing taxes. They're giving you money back on your taxes so that you can buy a car, something that's going to depreciate as soon as you walk off the lot, something that's going to take more money out your pocket. I don't care if you are driving Uber. It's still taking more money. Unless you're doing an Uber full time, then of course the car becomes then a part of your business and you can write a whole bunch of stuff off. And it's kind of an asset in a sense because it makes money for you. If it makes more money than it's costing you, then it's an asset. Okay, but if it's not, then it's a liability. But everybody ain't doing that. So stop going to buy these things. Now, if you're going to buy a car simply because you're going to flip that and drive Uber with it, then go ahead, more power to you. Then that's not a bad thing. But stop buying a god doggone car just so that you can have a new car. All right? Stop being a consumer all the time. Make the money on your investments to pay for all your consumerisms. All right? How about that? Dang, how about that? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I did. I enjoyed being back on a live feed. I'm going to work on, I apologize, YouTube. I'm going to work on getting maybe the Wi-Fi extender because I'm surrounded by trees now. All right. And a hill. Like, yeah, I'm in the bottom of a hill. So I'm going to work on that so that next week it'll be better. But you guys